Okay, page 4. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations and practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and turn my light into the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth. Sanye shoda soge chanjo bado dani gyabzu che dage shinso kebe sonam lola benjir sanye dubara sho sanye shoda soge chonam chanjo bado dani gyabzu che dage shinso kebe sonam lola benjir sanye dubara sho sanye shoda soge chonam Chanju bardo dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe sonam tola benjire sanje dubara sho Om ye dharma he tu prabhavam he tum desham datha gato yavatat desham chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha Om yeda hetu prabhava hetum tesham data gato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha Evam vate mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise in causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation causes as well is taught by the great seer. Okay, where did we leave this morning? We're still on second seal. All contaminated things are suffering nature. And so we learn about contaminations. So to know what is contamination, and know what is contaminated, we need to know what is contamination. So is there anybody who can tell us, what do you understand by contamination now? Like what consisted? What consists of contaminations? Contaminant commas? Okay, so if you can say either from the top down or bottom up, whichever. So one is okay, so the mental elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, conceptual thought of, inappropriate attention, afflictions, and okay, so these three are the contaminations. So then give rise to the contaminated karma. It gives rise to contaminated karma and the contaminated suffering. Suffering is contaminated. So this is the meaning of what if all contaminated things are of suffering nature. So we know what exactly is contamination, contaminated, we know that. So from this what we've learned is that where our mind is with the feeling of self-grasping, and we should learn what exactly is meant by self-grasping ignorance. And this is not just, a vague idea, okay, no, this is not what it means by self-grasping. So self-grasping is well defined, it has its own meaning, this is something which we need to identify. And then once you identify a little bit, then every time you have some problem, we have some problems, the mental uneasiness and so forth, just think of this how that is related to self-grasping, and the opposite of which is the wisdom of emptiness. The moment we think of wisdom of emptiness, instantly this uneasiness dissolves, it subsides. Then we can clearly see that, wow, this is amazing fun in my life. This is the one thing which is most precious. And of course, alongside the bodhicitta, universal compassion, these two should go hand in hand. So with this mind, we said all contaminated things are suffering nature. Then suffering, okay, in the first place, what do you understand by suffering? Anyone? What do you understand by suffering? Or how do you define suffering? What do you think is the meaning of suffering? Anyone? Huh? Physical problems. Yes. Physical, the disturbances can also create mental suffering. So suffering in general. What do you understand by suffering in general? Anyone? Huh? Uneasiness. Anyone else? Somebody say more that people give your thoughts. Dissatisfaction. Men. Huh? Pain. Yes. The pains. Omar. Disturbances in your mind. Chelsea. Dis-ease, discomfort. Okay, look, this is the benefit of the interaction with more people, and then really explore although they come up with the same point, but they come with slightly different ways of presenting it. That makes your thoughts very rich. Okay, very good. Anyone else? Suffering is? Okay, is more mentally constructed. Very good. Sickness, yes, sickness, mental sickness, physical sickness. Carl? Aging. Okay, aging is a major issue, yes. Anyone else? Okay, is there anybody who can tell us that a synonym of suffering, where, say, suffering, some people say that is very subjective. It's very subjective, but we all know what is suffering, which we don't like. So can you give me some idea, say, which can replace the concept, meaning which can substitute the concept of the suffering, or in other words, which can be interchangeably seen with suffering? Anyone? This morning we? Huh? That which is unwanted. Unwanted, yes, good, very good. Very good. Anything else? Misery, very good. Okay, can you give me some idea? So misery and suffering, I would say everything nature of misery. No, not everything is misery. Contaminated things are misery. Contaminated things are suffering. Contaminated things are unwanted. Anyone else? Unreliable. Very good. Yes, it is one of the elements of suffering. This morning we used some words. You remember? Lack of freedom. So everywhere, in a secular context, in a philosophical context, everywhere this word freedom, lack of freedom, lack of freedom is human rights. No human rights, right? Rights. It is my right. It's my freedom. It's my choice. So there's no choice. There's no freedom. Lack of freedom. That is suffering. Okay, so then we see that now the Buddha explained it in more detail. Suffering, there are three kinds of suffering. There are three kinds of suffering we need to identify, and then normally we identify only one class of suffering. And then as we go, some people who are more, they're naturally more aware, so they may identify subtler levels of suffering. Otherwise, generally, we identify only one level of suffering. What are the three kinds of suffering? Anyone? Okay. And this is Namdul, this is Rangdula. Okay, suffering, suffering change, and pervasive condition suffering. Okay, is there anybody who likes to explain Petula what is suffering? Anyone else suffering what is suffering? Yeah. The evident pains, any pain which anybody can easily identify as pain. Anybody can easily identify as undesirable, painful. This is known as suffering. Very good. So for us, we identify suffering so well. And because of which, you say, even in the, generally speaking, even in the court, say on the human rights level, animal rights level, and so forth, we see that the people actually working to remove the suffering, or raising voice against suffering created by one party over the other, and so forth. What is the next suffering change? What is suffering change? Anyone? Okay. Suffering change, we cannot guess. You're getting it? We cannot guess. For example, say, if I ask you how old I am, you can guess. If I ask you what is my age, you cannot guess. If I ask you what is the age of, what is the name of my dad, what is the name of my grandfather, you cannot guess. You're getting it? There are things which we can guess, and there are things which we cannot guess. For example, if you ask me, say who's that person who is of greatest influence to Omar's beautiful English, I cannot guess. But they say what is Omar's parents' age, I can guess. Based on Omar's age, from there I can guess like 20 plus, just add. There are things which we can guess, there are things which we cannot get. Some technical aspects we cannot guess. You're getting it? So therefore, suffering change, we cannot guess. Oh, the word is change. So you guess, don't guess. If you know it, you know it. If you don't know it. Done. Okay, what is suffering change? Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Just raise your hands. Okay, Joshua.
Any mundane happiness.
Any mundane, okay, so this is precisely correct answer. Any mundane happiness. Can you give me an example?
Maybe overeating your favorite food, for example. It has the potential to change from suffering of change to suffering of suffering.
Okay, the first bite is not an issue. First bite is not overeating. No, first bite is not overeating. So if you don't overeat, it's fine.
I think believing that there's this thing which gives us happiness, that there is mundane, certain things which gives us happiness.
Can you give an example?
Whether it's something material, for example, like a certain food, or
be very precise.
Cheesecake.
Huh?
Your example of cheesecake.
Okay, how many of you like momos?
Ladakhi cafe has good ones. We can take it. Ladakhi cafe has good ones. We can take veg momos.
Okay, Hiroshima, momos? You tasted? You like? So. Okay, cheesecake? Cheesecake, you like? Okay, let's say the joy of the cheesecake. The joy of cheesecake. This is, in other words, what Joshua, who said it? Joshua said it. All mundane happiness, who said it? Joshua. All mundane happiness is suffering of change. All mundane happiness is suffering of change. This is so important for us to know. Because, okay, for this we need to learn two things. One, mundane happiness, for example, enjoying cheesecake. Enjoying cheesecake, mundane happiness, how that is suffering, number one. How that is suffering, number one. Number two, once you know that it is suffering, the next question is, Why is it known as suffering change? Why the word change is added? So these are two things that we need to know. So anyone who likes to share with us why the mundane happiness is referred to as suffering? How is it suffering? Yes.
To wrap it on an example of cheesecake, let's say if you're hungry right now, then you take a cheesecake, you take one bite, but you keep having more and more. So at one point it becomes, now you're so full that your stomach is hurting of food. So now from hunger it has changed to overeating.
Okay, so some people are very smart. These are the non-smart people who overeat. Smart people, the cheesecake, they take 2 pieces, and then third they stop. Right? So then it's okay. This is not suffering change. Okay, anyone? Okay, with cheesecake. By the way, she's a cheesecake person.
So we misidentify the cheesecake as a source of happiness. So it acts as a way to practice contentment.
Okay. Do you really believe in this? Okay, so tell me again. So how is the joy of cheesecake suffering change? Number one, how is it suffering?
It's suffering because I don't realize that suffering. I think it's a source of happiness.
Of course, the source of happiness gives you joy.
Ultimate happiness. I think it's a source
No, you don't need to have ultimate happiness. For example, say we eat the cheesecake. We know that it does not give you up. You know that, right? It does not give you ultimate happiness. You know that.
But I still continue.
No, you are not fat. So if you continue to eat, you become fat. You know, like me. So you know that it will not give you ultimate happiness, but you enjoy it. What's wrong? So how is it suffering? Okay. Tim.
I guess it's an unreliable source of happiness, and that you think it's going to bring you happiness when you take the first bite, but then maybe a few minutes later you think, oh, that wasn't what I hoped for, didn't bring me happiness I thought it was going to bring me. And also your mind might change in terms of what you think happiness is in that moment before it. So
No, you eat the first piece and then stop. Then you will not eat the second piece.
But even then the piece might not live up to your expectation.
No, that's good. I know that eating the first piece will give me joy, and it's good. I enjoyed it, and then I stop. What's wrong with this? So, for example, let's say that the how much I enjoy, for example, apples. How the taste that I felt when I was a little boy enjoying an apple, and today is very different. Not this is change in the apples, because to my childhood, they say in school we didn't get opportunity for these things, and it's so rare. And the young child, the taste buds are so good, and it's so rare to get it. You eat it, it's amazingly delicious. Today, once in a while, after a long time, I don't get, I'd say, certainly I say apple and I taste it. Once, very briefly, I get this, the same taste that I used to get when I was a small child. So now I see that it's not up to the expectation, as you said.
But is the problem then how brief the happiness is?
Sorry?
Is the problem how brief the happiness is? It's very brief, it doesn't last very long, it's very much.
That's true. So some people, they think that it will last long, but it doesn't last long. For example, being in the family, you're very, good family, the family with good family members, and then we thought it's so like we're going to be together for long. And then, say, sometimes we even fight with the parents, we fight with the mothers, and thinking that they will last forever. And finally, when the mother dies, then you regret, I fought, and now I will wish that my mother's back so that I will not fight, I will serve her. So this is where expectation, and when that is disrupted, then you feel that it's a change. But what I'm saying is that if you know that cheesecake, it'll go away, it's just a matter of a few minutes, I finish and done. You know this and you eat it, you enjoy it, and then you just put a hold on this. So what's wrong with this question? What's wrong? How is it suffering? Anyone? So the idea is that whatever we are learning, make sure that you are convinced You're convinced doesn't mean that experientially you're convinced. To experiential feel, to be convinced, experiential, that's extremely precious. It'll take time. It requires many factors. For one, to think of the somebody who can think of the long term, these people, there's a tendency for one to get experience quicker. Whereas if you don't think of the long term, the long term, if you don't have a long term plan, then just immediate, like animals, we feel gratified with the immediate, the gratifications. We look for immediate gratification. That is like animal instinct. Where somebody with human brain, human mind, you think of the long term. Okay, so say okay, when I was 5 years old, I had my mom. So pleasant to be with her, with my dad. And then after 5 years, she disappeared. And so life is like this. I see other small children with the mother coming, and there's so much love and affection, beautiful. And then then in my 30s, my father left. And I just wish that he is with me so that I can take him anywhere he likes, so forth. So there, they say, okay, but this life. So I reach age 80 and my father like the 100 something, and I reach 800 and my father age 120, 30. No, this is very totally impractical. It will not happen. So somehow this is the process of life. Process of life. You think about long term process of life. So the more important thing is that, okay, what is today's today? What is past is past? What is today's today? But what about future? Long future in the future. So think of this. Then what we're discussing, they will become extremely meaningful and experiential very quickly. Okay, so we're talking about the suffering of the suffering change. So this, okay, Ashwin.
Just I'll try. So I think even if you have just one bite of cheesecake, maybe the suffering of change is believing that the happiness is coming objectively from the cheesecake and not actually that it's actually coming from your own mind.
Okay, so the happiness comes from you get a feeling that the happiness comes from the cheesecake and it's not coming from mind, so therefore that is suffering. Okay, why? Why, if you think that it's coming from the object, what's the problem?
Because you're under the spell of ignorance. You're not seeing where the happiness is.
It doesn't matter, as long as you enjoy, it's fine. Huh? Okay, and so what is said is very good. Very good. What I would suggest. Okay, what is said is very good. So we continue to explore. So this is how we grow in seeing the nuances. Very good. Okay, anyone else? Suffering of change. Yes.
Building on the things explanation only as it does not last long, because if it were to...
No, it does. So this is what I'm saying. Even though it doesn't last, if you know that it does not last long, still you enjoy it, and you know it will disappear. So you enjoy it. During that time you enjoy what's wrong.
But then if we, let's say, in one go, we can have more. But then if, let's say, I were to give you cheesecake for breakfast, lunch and dinner, all 3 times for the next 2 years, eventually you'll get frustrated. So
no, that is frustrated. But she's very smart. She'll not take it for breakfast, lunch, dinner every year. Every day she'll not have it. Just once in a while for fun she'll eat it. And what's wrong with this?
But then it would give you more happiness every time you will eat it, right? But that doesn't happen.
It doesn't matter. So whatever you enjoy at that time. Right? So in what way there's suffering? Yes.
I like cheesecake, but I don't enjoy cheesecake every time I eat it.
Yes. So how is the suffering change? How is the suffering in the first place?
It's not guaranteed. Like, even though I like something, it's not like every time I eat it. Even the first bite might not even be enjoyable.
Even the first bite, you may not get it, is what I'm saying.
I may not enjoy it.
You may not enjoy it. No, if you enjoy it, it's fine, right? If you just don't enjoy it, then it's suffering. But if you enjoy it, what's the problem?
No problem.
There's no problem. It's not suffering. It's not suffering. Okay, so your basic premise is defeated. So basic premise is that it's suffering. So how is suffering? What you mean?
Yes, I think again, happiness can potentially invite afflictions such as attachment and take away motivation to get out of samsara.
Okay, let's say we eat cheesecake. Tell this to this girl. Okay, what happens? Hey, Aditi, listen.
Potentially make her attached to the cheesecake.
Okay, so some people are very smart. Even if it's a big cheesecake, there are 20 pieces. They only take one piece and the remaining piece distribute. Right? Doesn't feel attached to it anymore. Just enjoy it first. Is that suffering change or not? You feel attached to it, that is suffering change. But if you don't feel attached, what's wrong? Is suffering how?
Because it makes her weak and dependent on the need to have cheesecake.
Okay, it makes you dependent on the cheesecake. Okay, let's not forget what Min said. Very good. Okay. Very good. Chelsea?
Okay, so if you enjoy the cheesecake,
Yes.
then so there's two reasons. The first is if you like it, you don't feel motivated to get out of samsara.
Okay, once more. So if you like it, it'll not make you motivated to?
So if you like it and you enjoy the first piece, even though it's not visibly suffering, it is in the long term.
How?
Because there's no motivation to get out of samsara because you're
No, what's the
enjoying it.
problem? What's the problem? Enjoy the cheesecake and then get out of samsara. Even after samsara, you take the cheesecake with you. What's wrong with you?
And I think the other reason is that even it has the potential to give rise to suffering of suffering.
How?
Because it can change. You can either get attached to it or throw an aversion towards it.
Okay, I'm not talking about the cheesecake in general. With a person who's very smart, who takes only a small bit and that's it, small piece, that's it, and then stop and give the rest to others. For that person, enjoyment of the cheese, if the only one small piece was how is it suffering? Okay, this is the very serious question. We think about it, think about long term, particularly we think about this, say, how are the suffering so perpetuating. It's a very vicious cycle, suffering. And suffering is connected with the suffering change. So, for example, the usual example that I give is that this is a very serious matter to think of. Let us think of it very seriously. And then in this life, let's see if we can leave some very precious imprints in the mind, thought processes, so that we really look for ways and means to stop the painful tears completely, right? Okay, let's say usually the metaphor that I give is that imagine there are two prisoners. There are two prisoners, and the two prisoners are handed over to the prison guards, two separate prison guards. And the job of the prison guards is to bring the two prisoners to the execution site after 1 year. So for 1 year, that is, in other words, capital punishment. And for 1 year, the prison guard should make sure that the prisoners don't escape. Okay, so prison guard A, prisoner A, prison guard A. Prison guard A, how he treated his the prisoner is that he creates a swimming pool in the prison, and he got Starbucks in the prison, and then he had beautiful gardens in the prison, and then in the mornings the prison guard comes to you and say, "Hello, how are you? And today what happened? You look so down. What's the problem? Please come. Come with me. Let's have coffee together." Starbucks give coffee. Hey Jack, Starbucks, no coffee, no coffee, no coffee. Yes, of course. Let's go for a cup of coffee together. So you have coffee, and you feel so happy. And then in the daytime, oh, here, swimming pool, just swimming. It's too hot. Very what? Humid. So swimming pool, swim. Okay, so this is, and then your mother comes. Your mother comes. Hey, Jack. Not only Jack, each one of us. Not only each one of us. Hey, this is samsara. This is a prison. Hey, you're not in say the palace. You are in a prison. So you have to get out. You have to escape. And each one of us, like Jack, each one of us will sit there. Mom, what are you saying? If you have a swimming pool, if you have Starbucks in a place, I'll come. Otherwise, you come. Join me. Okay. So this is prison A. Prison B. The prisoner B, every morning, the prison guard comes and slaps you. And then makes you work so hard, manual work. And then gives you meager food. Extremely meager food. And even the bed, there's no mattress, just stone slab. You sleep. And it's a terrible situation. Just imagine that before the execution day, if you come to know that there of the two prisoners, one has escaped. You tell me, most likely who's the one who's escaped? B or A? B. Okay. Why not A? Why? Why not A? Why B? Anyone? Huh?
A has been distracted with comfort.
A has been distracted by comfort. You're right. It gives him joy. Swimming pool, the garden, the Starbucks, and the prison guard coming to just console him, be friend with him, give time, give company. Prisoner B is always reminded that you are in prison. Prisoner B is always being reminded that you are in prison, you are in prison, you are in prison. So therefore he escapes. So what lured the prisoner A? And finally, imagine you are the one, the prisoner A. Finally say, okay, now I'm expecting to be with my friend, presented before the gallows. And you see that your friend is gone, escaped. You're alone. Now what will you feel? You'll feel that the prison A is a trap. Prisoner A, the prison guard A is a trap, is a lure. Prison A is a trap. Swimming pool is a trap. You will not appreciate it anymore. You agree? Only at that point. Before that, you don't identify that. You think that this is so good. So you wasted whole 1 year. Whereas while the other prisoner spent that much of time to think how to escape. And you did not think of this because your time is stolen by the suffering of change. The happiness in the prison. Your time is stolen by this. That it does not allow you to think of escaping. You agree? So that the happiness is the one which, so who said it? Men said it, or who said it? Some said that it steals your time. It makes you not to think of escaping. It makes you not to think of escaping from samsara. So if you think of the samsara overall, it's very, very, very scary. It's very scary. If you think of samsara overall, it's very scary. The thing is that our memory span is too short. Even with COVID. COVID happened just 2 years ago. And many people, they forgot already. So during that time, they say, if somebody is there to counsel, how to distress yourself, how to get away from anxiety. It's a bird, yeah, it's a bird. Okay, so the time, everybody will be where everybody will be listening to you with utmost attention. But today, who will listen? Only those people who have very clear memory, vivid memory of the COVID, the fear. So these people may listen, otherwise for others it's just like, So therefore within this short span of time, still we don't remember. So therefore if you don't think about samsara overall, we will never think of escaping from samsara like this person in prison A. Never thinks about escaping, and then finally you end up in the dead row, done. No escape. And then you regret. So they say so therefore it is said that those people who can see things far away in time and space, these are wise people. Those who see only things near in time and space, these are unwise people. In the Tibetan, the Buddhist text, there's a mention of what is known as the childlike people, childlike beings, meaning that those people who cannot see far away. So therefore, it'll be very good. I'm talking to you. We also, if you can think of the bigger picture of samsara, how scary it is. If you think about all composite things impermanent, all contaminated things of subtle nature. So to be very honest, I would say that these are things which I learned since my childhood. All composite things impermanent, all contaminated suffering. So it was just like the last since I was in my 40s, then 50s, I really feel so fascinated, amazed by the wonder of this Prince Siddhartha, who come to make such a conclusion that all composite phenomena, whatever composite, should necessarily be impermanent. And all what is contaminated, no matter who you are, prince, king, queen, president, prime minister, beggar, so whatever who you are, what is contaminated, you only have the miseries. It's extremely fascinating, so true. And then they say, if I don't think about this larger picture which the Buddha taught, then we will just be swayed by the immediate gratification. Food, time, good company, that's it. Whereas if you think of the long term, the future of today, of yourself, the future of, let's say this life, and then even within this life, today so some of you in your 20s, 30s, 40s, gradually you'll be 60, and then you have knee problems, and the 70s, you have that problem, this problem, and somebody said aging. And then gradually, we never know, it's very scary to see somebody bedridden for like 10 years. Oh, how many know that? Some people who are bedridden for 10 years, sometimes 2 years, 3 years, bedridden. And we never know that we can be the next person. How many agree with me, reasons? We never know. We never know. I'm not scaring you. I'm not creating unnecessary fear in you, but we never know. So therefore, think of this, more think about this, and the people will generate what is a wiser thing to do? What is a wiser thing to do? Okay. For example, only when we think of the long term, then we see, for example, like the gadgets, spending so much hours on the gadgets. These will slow down. Otherwise, if you don't think about the bigger picture of the reality of life, so just immediate gratification, then the gadgets can really, really steal your time. And for our practice, 5 minutes meditation, after 5 minutes meditation, you do like this. You do like this, and then drink water and stretch your arm, legs. And then with the gadget, 3 hours, still you don't do this. You getting it? This is how, how we have been lured by the suffering change. So why this is suffering? It's simply because that this is something which which the wise people will not appreciate, which the wise people will see as very vicious. It's a bait. What's a bait? Bait is delicious, not delicious. Bait is delicious, not delicious. It must be delicious. If it is not delicious, no fish will come. It should be delicious. And yet behind that is the hook there to trap you. So therefore, all the mundane happiness, suffering, change, because it is bait. So the bait should necessarily have two components. One is that's very delicious, which means it's appealing, immediate gratification. And the other one is that there's a hook behind it. You're getting it? To steal your time and to make you eventually suffer. And then the next one is why the word change is added. So that's it has a tendency. Don't say that it will. It has a tendency that the more you're exposed to this, it will change into suffering. It'll take you to suffering. So this is why the word change is added. Otherwise, the emphasis should be on the suffering. How is it suffering? Because it is a bait. It has two components. It is delicious. Yes, it is what ordinary people see as nice, good, delicious. At the same time, behind that there is the hook to catch you. That is which kills you, which kills us. Okay, so that is the suffering change. Next, what's the third one? Pervasive conditioned suffering. Okay, what can you think of the pervasive conditioned suffering? Anyone? Pervasive conditioned suffering. Anyone? Yes.
Even if I get out of suffering, there is suffering all around. Even if I do not experience, there is suffering beyond me.
Okay. Let's say the Buddha is free of suffering, the pervasive suffering or not. Buddha is free of all sufferings, but still you see sufferings all around. Getting it? What is pervasive conditioned suffering? Anyone?
Existence. Like your existence, it's like hair, taking bath, brushing, eating food, like these daily hassles also.
Hassle is suffering.
Yeah, so like just your existence itself is suffering.
Are you sure? Don't be too negative. Existence is beautiful. How is existence suffering? Okay. Suffering, illness, death falls under suffering. You getting it? Okay, anyone? Pervasive? Okay, the William?
With our discontaminated body, we are suffering.
Say it again.
With our discontaminated body, every case is suffering, similar to all the other rebirth in 6 different lives.
Okay, so our contaminated bodies, contaminated aggregates, so it is the basis of suffering. Okay, good. Anyone else? Involuntary birth and samsara. Involuntary birth, the Buddha said, where there's a birth, will end up in death. So therefore this is the pervasive condition. And then we have to learn why it's pervasive, why conditioned, and how is it suffering. 3 things. Okay, one example is what the Karl Tinshir said, that is involuntary birth in samsara. Anyone else? Anyone else?
The sway of contaminated karmas and afflictions.
Being under the sway of contaminated karmas and afflictions. Yes, this is another thing, Joshua. Contaminate neutral feelings. Anyone else? Very good, thus far. Okay, so what we see is that contaminated neutral feelings, contaminated 5 aggregates, and what the Karl Tinshir said, that the involuntary birth in samsara, what the Bhumigaji said, that the being under the sway of contaminated karmas afflictions, these are the pervasive conditioned suffering. Chelsea, you want to say something? Okay, how are these 3 things? Okay, let's write down what are the illustrations, what are the examples of pervasive conditions. So one is involuntary birth in samsara. Involuntary birth in samsara is number 1. Number 2, the contaminated neutral feelings. Contaminated neutral feelings. Number 3, being under the sway, being under the control, being under the sway of contaminated karmas and afflictions. Very good. Okay. Now, let us explore. So these three things are known as the suffering, pervasive conditioned suffering. And the question is, so why, in the first place, how are they suffering? How are they suffering? This is what we need to learn first. And then we'll go to why they are referred to as pervasive. So which Chelsea is going to explain pervasive, and then number two, why they are referred to as conditioned. So the first one is, how are they suffering? Anyone? 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 Okay, the Atiti.
There's a lack of freedom.
Lack of freedom. Can you explain a little bit how?
Involuntary birth means I choose to be reborn.
Involuntary birth has connotation that I don't choose to take birth. So it happens automatically. So you have no choice. You have to go through this process. This is the what? Suffering. Yes, lack of freedom. Yes.
And again, the lack of freedom because of being under the control of karma.
Again, lack of freedom because that we are under sway, we are under control of the contaminant karma. Contaminant karma decides. Contaminant karma afflictions, they decide where we are going to go next. You have no choice to take birth in which place, where we have no choice. The karma and the contaminant afflictions, they decide. Okay, so therefore lack of freedom. Very good. Anyone else? Okay. So let's say suffering of suffering, nobody wants. Then suffering change, all the childlike people, short-sighted people, short-sighted beings. We all crave for this, and we don't want to get out of this. Suffering change. Then pervasive conditions, okay, our suffering, we know what it is. We experience, we don't like it. Suffering change, we experience and we like it. Pervasive conditions suffering, we even don't identify them. The true pervasive condition that we're not aware that we are under the dictate of contaminant karma's affliction. It's so like we have the freedom. How many of you have already booked your flight back? Train ticket back, flight back, bus, the plan, I want to go here, there, and who have filled the form, where's your next destination? Right? Okay, it's so like you have the freedom. We don't have the freedom, right? We don't really have the freedom. Okay, so the pervasive condition suffering. So how these are the suffering? Okay, let me tell you one thing. For example, how many of you have difficulty with your immediate boss in your job? At least once in your lifetime, with your immediate boss. Shivam? Okay. So let's say, let me create a scenario where you have your immediate boss, and the boss has his own boss, the main boss. And your boss is extremely cruel to you. Every morning you say, "Good morning, sir." Sometimes "Good morning, ma'am" also. "Good morning, ma'am." "Good morning, sir." And no reply. Instead, we look at you like this, which means you are late by 5 minutes. Right? Like this. Right? And face very stern. Okay. And so there's a feeling of corrosiveness, toxicity there, just by being there, and very biased, and very strict, rigid, very biased. And your main boss, the boss, sees you and say, "Hi Carl, how are you doing? You look sad today. What happened? Come, let's have a cup of tea." No sir, my boss, Don't worry, I'll tell him. Don't worry, come with me. And if you have any problem, let me know. Right? You're very happy, not happy, hey? Omar, very happy? Very happy. One day, you happen to pass by the office of the main boss. And you don't see, but you could hear the main boss shouting at your boss, your immediate boss, that you have been so lenient on Karl. You have been so lenient on Vamivaji, right? You mention your name, you have been so lenient. Be more tough, be more rough, cruel, right? Then what happened? You were literally shocked, right? My boss is cruel because of the boss. Because of bosses who pretended to be so calm, gentle, kind. Okay, so would you be happy now? Would you be happy with the main boss? No, your boss is handicapped. He's made to treat you with cruelty because of the boss. Okay, so this is where they say the boss is not seen as your boss. Is seen as very nice, friendly, but actually this is the real boss, or the puppet is controlled by him. So therefore, we are controlled by the contaminant karmas and afflictions. And yet we don't see that. We are controlled by contaminant karmas and afflictions. This is where we don't see that. And the main boss of us is the self-grasping ignorance. There's a main boss who decides where we're going to take birth, what kind of form, where, which place. This is all decided by this. So therefore, and this is okay. And imagine that so this boss, as long as you are under this boss, although the boss may not be, superficially being shouting at you and so forth, but still mentally you feel so suffocated. The moment you are in the company, you feel so suffocated. So what happens to you if they says that your boss took a leave for 1 month? You happy, not happy? Huh? William, very happy?
Very happy.
Very happy. Okay, all of us very happy that he's gone for 1 month. Or you are on holiday, 1 month leave. You're happy, not happy? You chill out. So happy for 1. And then the 10 days pass. 20 days pass. Then what happens? Then the heart becomes heavier. 25 days pass. Right? What happens? Heavier. You have to go back. Mitra, yes? You have to go back. It becomes heavier. Although there's no direct contact, still you are affected by the boss's influence. That unhappiness is there. So why you have this unhappiness? Because of the boss there, main boss. Okay. So one day you come to get the information that your boss is transferred from India to America. For good. You're happy, not happy? Liberation. Okay, total liberation. Okay, this is when the main boss is self-grasping ignorance. When that leaves you for good, that is the liberation. You getting it? Okay, so these are the 3 kinds of suffering. Suffering change, pervasive conditioned suffering. So why pervasive? So this is suffering because that as long as we are under this boss, there is no happiness within us. Somehow, immediate gratification is bad, but there's some problem under this boss, self-grasping ignorance. So therefore, I'm always under control, which means that there's no freedom. So it goes with this misery. The next is why this is known as pervasive. Okay, Chelsea, why?
It's known as pervasive because it pervades all 3 realms.
Okay, Chelsea is saying that the pervasive condition suffering is pervasive condition suffering. Why pervasive? Because that of the 3 suffering, the first one, suffering exists where? Only in desire realm. You may be wondering, what is desire realm? Whole samsara is broken down into 3 divisions. Whole samsara is divided into 3 divisions. Desire realm, form realm, formless realm. Okay, so those of us who never heard about these things, how that I learned, how that the others learned, it's because they learned at one point. And those who have never heard of these things, if you learn one day, you will also be good at it. First, what is that? Desire realm. Second one is form realm. Third one is formless realm. Desire realm is Kamalok in Sanskrit. Kamalok. Form realm is Rupalok. And the third formless realm is Arupalok. Okay. So three. Whole, for example, like northern hemisphere, the whole world is divided into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, or easterners, westerners. So whatever. Like this, whole samsara is broken up, divided into three groups. So of the three, and even the sequence, don't really mix up the sequence or the order. Desire realm, formless realm. So is there anybody who likes to tell us on what basis these three are put in this order? Desire realm, formless realm. On what basis? Anyone? Okay. So basically, they say desire realm is the grossest. It's the grossest state where the misery is the maximum. And then the form realm is the next subtler. Then the formless is the subtlest, most refined state. And now these three sufferings, suffering exists only in desire realm. Suffering exists only in desire realm. And amongst the different emotions, the emotion of anger, emotion of hatred, spite, and so forth, these very corrosive emotions, these exist only in desire realm. Okay, so where these emotions, these corrosive emotions are there, this suffering exists. So suffering is not pervasive because it exists only in the desire realm, not in the form and the formless realm. Number one. What is next? Suffering change. Suffering change exists in the desire realm, and then the form realm again divided that into four. Form realm again divided that into four. But don't worry, there are so many divisions. Don't worry about that. Just say form realm divided into four. And how do you remember these four? It's very easy. Just say the first concentration, second concentration, third concentration. Just these the four different labels are given. First concentration form realm, second concentration form realm, and so forth. And these different labels are given based on the refinedness of the meditative experience. Okay, so we're not going to go through what kind of meditative experiences these are all studied separately in one text known as Abhisamaya Alankara, Ornamental Clay Realization by Aramatria. Okay, good. So, of the three, in the form realm, which is divided into four, the suffering change exists in the desire realm and the first three form realm. Let me repeat it. Suffering change exists in the desire realm and first three form realm, not in the fourth form realm and the formless. No. So therefore, suffering change is not pervasive conditioned suffering. Finally, pervasive conditioned suffering exists in all three realms, across the realms of samsara. All three realms. So therefore, on the involuntary burden samsara, being under sway of contaminant karma's afflictions, the neutral or contaminant neutral feelings, they all fall under the category of, they all exist in all the three realms. So therefore they are pervasive. Next, conditioned. Condition has a connotation of we being under sway, we being conditioned. As applied is conditioned by the pervasive conditioned suffering, particularly self-grasping ignorance and the contaminant karmas and afflictions. They decide, apply, they condition our existence. So therefore, condition. Good. So this is what is known as the all contaminated things are suffering nature. Okay. Now, we think of this more. Say all composite things impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. If you think about this for quite some time, then you will start to feel aversion to samsara. You will start to feel aversion to samsara. There will be incredibly good thing in ways that with this, then you do any prostration, virtues, they become very, very productive. high quality virtues. Virtues to take us to nirvana, liberation from samsara, of high quality. Otherwise, if you don't practice renunciation, if you don't practice bodhicitta, if you don't practice wisdom emptiness, and simply engage in the mundo practice, light person and so forth, you put so much effort and the outcome is very small. Whereas, if you practice renunciation, then whatever all these virtues, like you start to feel something, that samsara is very scary, I have to get out of samsara completely, I should not be, suffering nobody wants. Suffering change, majority of these sentient beings, they love it. So therefore this is a trap, I should get away from this. And pervasive conditioned suffering is so vicious. This is the mastermind of all my problems. I have to get away from this mastermind so that I'll be free from the suffering and a pervasive conditioned suffering. And they say the three worlds is where the tears exist. And this is why we continue to be in the tears, because of the suffering change. We are trapped by we are lured by suffering change. And suffering change creates the pervasive conditioned suffering. So that's the mastermind to give us a suffering change, so that we continue to suffer, have the suffering. So the more we contemplate on this, we do some retreat on this, if possible. I would say that, like for the 10-day retreat, 1 week retreat, and so forth, just to contemplate on the all composite things impermanent, all contaminant things suffering nature, just like 1 week retreat, 10-day retreat, and so forth. You can do that, or if you have time, like 1 month, 2 months, and so forth, that would be very, very good. And then if you sit for retreat on these, and you start to say, we should be very careful, particularly with this thing, your mind may start to feel a little bit of, your mind may turn a little bit depressive. Because of this. If it goes to the extreme of, what is that? What I call as I cannot bear it anymore. So when it happens, and then to some extent it's fine. To some extent it's very good. Whereas if it goes to extreme, to the extent that you are on the verge to break down, then you have to meet your teachers. Seek more advice, and so this would be very helpful. And whereas for some people, you may get a feeling that this is very scary, I cannot tolerate it, I couldn't bear it anymore. At the same time, you get a recognition that now wherever I go, wherever in the world I go, even in the form and formless God realm, I go there still under the sway of contemplative afflictions. There's no escape. So better I use this life to exit out of samsara completely. If this thought comes to you, you are a very, very meritorious person. So you will not turn into depression, and this will push you deeper into the deeper level of practices, and then your bodhicitta will become very, very effective. Your compassion can grow so fast, and then you will value the bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, because we see that how to get out of this is just wake up from this level of ignorance. How to wake up, see emptiness. So this is where we have this practice effective, and the rest will automatically fall in place. Wisdom, emptiness, bodhicitta, they all fall in place. Okay, this is so precious. Okay, so now by contemplating on this, sitting for retreat and so forth, and for many of us, we don't really have much time. Like, in a year, you may get only 15 days off and so forth. If that is the case, what I would say is that you can sit for retreat, even a long weekend. Like, say, Monday is holiday, then Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, long weekend, you can sit for retreat. If nothing works, then you can just sit for the Thursday and Sunday retreat. But don't expect that the sit for retreat, given that it's a label retreat, right? It likes very prestigious, and then they say, I'll have some realization. Don't expect that. Don't expect that. These are just to prepare yourself and keep it confidential. Don't publicize. Okay, I'm on retreat. Don't advertise. I'm on retreat. Don't call me. I'm on retreat. Don't call me. No need to say. Just what you do is that those people who would really be worried about you, only those people who would be really, really worried about you if you don't communicate, inform them. And I'm a my personal practice, the sun press. Don't make it big thing. Keep it very low profile. And if you don't get any message from me, don't worry. If there's some urgent things, just send me a message. Don't call me, right? And then you make a time in a day, maybe say in the daytime when you're resting, so then you can just open your WhatsApp or for like 10 minutes. You go through what is important, you respond what is not important, just keep it there, and then again shut it down. I will do your practice. Only those people who would worry about you. Because 2 days, 3 days, what is this? Only those people who worry about you, they will be really concerned. So inform them in advance, and then you sit for retreat. And keep your mobile off. Right? In one day, you just open for like 10 minutes, and then you sit for retreat. But don't expect too much that in this retreat, then I'll have some realization. Don't expect that. And you may not even be able to have the timetable set properly. Again, do it again. Next retreat, within 2, 3, 4 times. Then gradually your mind, you will be able to sync your mindset with the timetable. You can put the timetable according to your bodily requirement or your, say, the mental requirement. You can set it properly, and then you can flow. So then later, whenever you do the retreat, it becomes very effective and beneficial. Okay. And so this is what is very important. So let's say that with this practice, then you feel a great sense of urgency. Yes, that's very true. Suffering, so painful. Suffering changes extremely, cunning and vicious. Cunning and vicious in ways that giving me the very nice things and actually stealing my time. Serving as a bait is so vicious. And pervasive condition suffering, this is the mastermind, the most vicious thing. I must get out of this. The next question is? How? Okay. So, because that you are frustrated with these 3 kinds of suffering. So, if you want to get away from this, what should we be doing? The Buddha taught, E dharma hetu prabhava. All phenomena arise from the causes. What you don't like, you want to get away from this? Identify the cause of that. And what's the cause of all these miseries? Hey, what is the cause of all these miseries? Hey, we learned it. Acharya, the Arya Nagarjuna's verse. Ceasing on karma's afflictions is nirvana. Karma's afflictions arise from conceptualization of inappropriate tension, which in turn arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. And elaboration of self-grasping ignorance ceases by or into the wisdom of the emptiness. Okay, remember that. So with this, all the miseries, they say, contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate tension, self-grasping ignorance. And root is self-grasping ignorance. Okay, now let's say that finally what should we be doing to stop and to bring an end to the suffering? What should we be doing finally? Wake up. What do you mean by wake up? To see the reality. What's the reality? This next question. What's the reality? Okay, do you think that this is a question that comes to your mind if I say that, okay, you have to wake up. How to wake up? We have to stop the miseries. How to stop it? Stop the cause of miseries. How to stop the cause of misery? What are the causes of misery? Self-grasping ignorance. How to get rid of this? Wake up. How to wake up? Do you think that this is the series of questions coming to your mind? Yes. How to wake up? This question. So waking up is a wisdom. So what is a wisdom? Wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension, the object, tallies with the reality. Let me repeat it. What is the wisdom? That needs to be cultivated to counteract this root of the miseries. Root of miseries which make us sleep in ignorance. That wisdom is a discerning mind whose apprehension, of the object tallies with the reality. What's the next question? What is the reality? What's the reality? So this, the Buddha taught as the third seal. What's the third seal? Okay, this girl said, I don't remember the third seal.
Yes.
What is the third seal?
All phenomena are selflessness and emptiness.
Very good. All phenomena are the nature of selflessness and emptiness. You're getting it? This is reality. It's amazing how the Buddha taught. They're so logical, consistent. One line taking us to the second line taking us to the third. Okay, so we learn it is that everything is the nature of selflessness and emptiness, or, and in the English way of putting it, all phenomena are the nature of emptiness, selflessness, or everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Both fine. So, if you know that if it's the nature of selflessness and emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. So, what we learned this morning is that the dream, does it exist or not? Dream cheesecake, does it exist or not? Dream cheesecake does not exist. Okay, how many will say it does not exist? Raise hands. Okay, we have to ask the cheesecake man. It exists or not exist? Dream cheesecake does not exist. Okay, so there are many of us who say that it does not exist. Raise hands those who say it does not exist. Okay, Atiti, Simran, Petrona, William, Jackie, Joshua. Dream cheesecake exists or not?
Exists as a dream cheesecake.
Okay. Raise hands those who will say it exists. Dream cheesecake exists. Hey, what happened, Aditi? Huh? Did I say it? I don't remember the use of the word intrinsic at all in the last 10 minutes. I didn't use the word intrinsic at all. Okay, now, those of you who would say dream cheesecake does not exist, raise hands. Okay, now people are scared. Those who already raised their hand, okay, they're a little scared. There are many who said, okay, something's wrong with me. Don't worry. Okay, now let me make it clearer. Dream cheesecake does not exist as a real cheesecake, raise hands. Dream cheesecake does not exist as a real cheesecake. Dream cheesecake as a real cheesecake does not exist. Raise hands. Okay. Dream cheesecake exists as a dream cheesecake. Raise hands. Good. This is the distinction. So dream cheesecake does exist. It does not exist as a real cheesecake. It exists as a dream cheesecake. It does exist. You getting it? It exists as a dream cheesecake. Okay. So with this in mind, tell me what's the difference between dream cheesecake and the real cheesecake? Okay, over there, Goram.
Real cheesecake is objective in nature and dream cheesecake is subjective in nature.
Well, he just concluded everything. Thank you. Okay, how many agree with Goram? That dream cheesecake is subjective reality and the real cheesecake is objective reality. Raise hands. Very good. Okay. Now, what is the difference between objective and subjective? So, Goran used the word objective and subjective. What do you understand? What is the difference between objective and subjective? Very quick. Anyone? Quick. Anyone? Okay, otherwise.
How in the world subjective is in your mind?
Okay, subjective is something that comes from your mind, and objective is something in the world independent of your mind. Okay, how many agree with? Shab.
I just gave the definition.
No. I'm trying to remember your name. Shabishwa, yes. Shabdeshwar, yes. Look, this is how the young people, they talk so confidently, and then we become the what? They become the pervasive condition suffering. Right? We follow with them, and then we end up in problem. This is his pervasive condition suffering. Okay, Shabdeshwar, tell me. What is said is that the subjective is purely what is coming from the mind, and objective is what is coming from the object, independent of the mind. Okay, this is how he presented. How many of you agree with what Shabdishwar said? Oh, you all agree. Very good. Okay, now, but that what we're learning is that just as the morning, what we said is that seeing the dream as real. Seeing the dream as real happens in dream. Seeing the dream as real is ignorance or wisdom. It's ignorance, and the outcome is fear and loss of freedom. Whereas seeing the dream as dream, it happens in the dream, outside dream. Outside the dream. And is that wisdom or ignorance? It's a wisdom. Wisdom, it happens outside, and what the outcome? That you gain the freedom. You stop the loss of freedom. You getting it? That is the amazing, so precious. Okay, so with this in mind, and so we're talking about the subjective, objective, and the Buddha taught that everything is like a dream. Everything is like a dream, but we don't see things as dream. We see them as so real, so real. So this morning we talked about two kinds of dream. What are they? Conventional dream and unconventional dream. And from the conventional dream, we have been waking up every day. So every day, in loss of freedom, because of the conventional dream, stops every day. But from the unconventional dream, we have never woken up. And the good thing about the unconventional dream is that once we wake up, we never fall back. So we are fully awakened. We are awakened for good. Therefore, we are freed we are liberated. Okay. So, but this the next is that how can we wake up? So for that, we need to remember what the Buddha taught, that everything is like a dream. Meaning everything is subjective, objective? Everything is subjective. Okay, how do we know that? This next question. For example, the quantum physics or relativity theory, E equals mc square. Even that Albert Einstein said E equals mc square, it must be correct. No. If you say that it must be correct, just sit like this. You will never understand how E equals mc square. So if you really want to know how E equals mc square, what should you do? You have to practice the derivation. Practice how to derive this equation. We have to practice derivation. Without this, no matter how much you repeat this equation, it will not help. No matter how much you recite, or everything is nature, emptiness, surface, everything is nature, emptiness, however much you repeat it, if you don't study how everything is nature, emptiness, surfaceness, you will never understand how everything is like a dream. So therefore, the Buddha encouraged us to study and contemplate. Once with study and contemplation, you get some understanding that, okay, what I'm seeing is not the reality. Then meditate on this to stabilize your experience and to translate this experience into experience level. So only when it is translated into the experience, then the combat with self-grasping can happen, and so the debate between the self-grasping, ignorance, and the wisdom. So this wisdom, you study, contemplate, meditate, then the self-grasping is already very strong in us. And when the wisdom is translated from the study level to the contemplation level to the meditation level, then it becomes strong. Then you can fight. So first, fight in ways of, say, the intellectual debate. Who says what? Self-grasping, ignorance, what does it say? And the wisdom of emptiness, what does it say? And then you as the judge, stay in the middle and then see. And then gradually, when you see that, whatever the wisdom of emptiness says, this is totally sensible. What the self-grasping ignorance saying is totally baseless. When you become so confident, then fully focus on the meditation, on the wisdom of emptiness. Then it will not only intellectually win the debate, that experientially it will then corrode, remove the self-grasping ignorance. Then the iceberg of self-grasping ignorance is melted. Once that melts, what happens? All what? What is stacked up? Inappropriate attention, afflictions, contaminant karmas, and the miseries, all stacked up, will crumble down and misery is gone. That is the final victory. Okay, so what is the difference between, let's say, we talked about this first, the intellectual debate between the two, self-grasping ignorance and the wisdom of emptiness. Intellectual debate. Intellectual. Once intellectually you're able to prove what the wisdom of emptiness says is correct, then you have, intellectually, then you have to see to what extent it makes sense on the contemplation level. Are you really convinced with this? Number two, contemplation. Once convinced, contemplation, then go to the meditation. So therefore the wisdom wisdom can be generated on three different levels. Wisdom can be generated on three different levels. What are they? Number one, wisdom derived through learning, intellectual learning. Wisdom derived through learning, number one. What is number two? Wisdom derived through reflection or contemplation. Wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through reflection, and number three, wisdom derived through meditation. Three. Okay, now let me explain each one of these three things. So some people who are intellectually so well read, with the debates, all this, they study so well, but as a person, still the person can be extremely angry, short-tempered, emotional, but intellectually so gifted. Right? You can just, he or she can say anything, very standard sources, and intellectually so bright, but they say on experiential level, the person can still be extremely angry, short-tempered, so like, where's your Dharma studies? Okay, there's oftentimes people say that what's the point of Dharma practice? Look at this person. He knows everything. She knows everything. But look at this. Where the emotion, so angry. Like Tibetan is known as the Maranya. Right? So this person is like a scorpion. Scorpion meaning, right? You touch it instantly, it will you, right? So therefore, no, what's the use of Dharma practice? What's the use of Dharma? He knows everything, she knows everything. Look at, like a scorpion. Okay. So this is that whoever says this, that person is a clear indication that that person doesn't know the distinction between these three things. What are the three things? Wisdom derived through learning. Hey, Archana ji. Wisdom derived through learning. Wisdom derived through contemplation or reflection. Very good. Okay, three wisdoms are there. You're getting it? So people are mixing. People don't know the distinction, so therefore they think that there's no use of Dharma practice. Dharma and the person remains the same, It's sometimes the person knows so much and the person is even more arrogant. I know more than you. Right? I'm more learned than you. Person becomes more arrogant, and Dharma is to subdue arrogance. Arrogance increases because of Dharma. So people think that, okay, what's the use of Dharma? I will not practice Dharma. But one thing that I really appreciate, this is very important, particularly on the part of the people, people who are interested in Dharma. In the first place, to have interest in Dharma itself is so precious. Don't forget it. To have interest in Dharma, that itself is so precious. Number one. Number two, that we need to know these three things. The wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through reflection or contemplation, wisdom derived through meditation. We need to learn these three things. And meanwhile, don't expect that everybody is learning these three things. You're getting it? So those people who are interested in Dharma, we must learn the distinction of these three things. Then on that basis, try as much to the best you can that we practice whatever we're learning. Try best. It's not that you learn all these things and you become Buddha the next day. No, don't expect that. But from your side, try your best to practice it for the sake of the Dharma and for the sake of yourself and for the sake of Dharma also. Because there are so many ignorant people who do not know the distinction of these two things and don't know that you have been down for so long and your emotions are the same and they feel, no, I don't want to go to Dharma. They get the excuse not to practice Dharma because of look at you. So therefore, we have a huge responsibility. Try our best to practice in whatever capacity to manage and to control emotions. This is so precious. Okay. So otherwise, what is that? Who is that? Leo Tolstoy. What is that? Once I read the quote by him, I was so amazed. Okay, what is that? Is that I don't want to learn your dharma. I don't want to learn your religion. I want to see your religion in your action. Wow, that's amazing. I don't want to hear your religion from your words. I want to see your religion in your action. You getting it? It's so true. It's so true. So particularly people who are interested in Dharma, we have a huge responsibility that in the first place we have to acknowledge that to have interest in Dharma itself is so precious. Okay, it's already 4:30. So I will wind this up with a short anecdote. When I was in school, there was one boy who must be like 5 or 6, 7 years older than me, very senior in school when I was a little boy. And later, he turned into Dharma. And he is a very jovial person, extremely jovial person. And he I don't know where he is now. Of course, he's not too old. He must be maybe maximum 65, 66. And he's a lay practitioner. And he had many Western students. And when he was in Germany, and the students, they invited him for the meal in a hotel. And all the students and himself, they were ordering food. And all the students, they ordered vegetarian food. And he ordered non-veg food. And all his students, because that they know that their teacher is extremely, jovial and asks, "Sir, you are our teacher of the Dharma. And your students all ordered vegetarian food and only you ordered non-veg food." So what he said, ha ha ha. Right? Ha ha ha. Okay. And then they were waiting what he's going to say. He said that you all are very lucky that I'm non-vegetarian. That I'm a Dharma. I'm in Dharma. No, not you're lucky that I'm non-veg. You're so lucky that I'm in Dharma. Because I'm in Dharma, I'm only eating non-veg food, I'm not eating you. If I'm non-Dharma, I'll eat you all. You're getting it? You should be so lucky that I'm in Dharma because I'm not eating you. You're getting it? Okay. So these are all the same. Of course, we cannot judge another person simply because of one reason or this reason, that reason. But overall speaking, what I'm saying is this is so important for people who are interested in Dharma. I'm sure that you have encountered with, your family members saying that, what's the point of Dharma? Look at my brother, look at my sister, into Dharma for the last 10 years. And then there's no change. Right? As so like you should become Buddha the next day. The next day you said, I'm into Dharma. You should, no. This is their naivety. But they do get this impression. How many of you have got this comment? This hands? Once in a while you got this comment? Yes. One. Hey, Ashwin, you got the comment? Yes. And say, and the first other person is being unjust to you. Because unjust, you also fight back. You fight back and they will say, what's the point of you to Dharma? Right? They use that? Yes. So therefore, the point is that, of course, from our side, try best. Try best. Even for your own benefit. Study, contemplate, meditate. Okay, so I want to make distinction between these three things. Study, what are the three things? Study or learning. Number 2, contemplation and reflection. Number 3, meditation. Let me make the division of these three things. Okay, first, the study. Study without the contemplation and the meditation. First, what constitutes the wisdom of the learning, wisdom of the study? What is that? So let me give an example. And say it was, I was maybe 5 years old, and my math teacher in school, just 1 hour, Samsara teaches school up there. My math teacher used to be extremely strict teacher. She must be 21, 22. I was just 5 years old. And then she said, okay, all the students learn the multiplication table. What is that? Multiplication table of 3 by heart by tomorrow. And then unlike today, so there, who checks whether you are studying, what kind of homework you have? Nobody checks. So the teacher said it, and the next day, the teacher said, Dorji, get up. Stand up. I stood up. Hey, recite the multiplication table of 3. And then where? Nothing. No. So I remained quiet, silent. And she said, 3 ones are. 3 ones are? That's very easy. 3. Good. 3 twos are? No answer. So what I do, look, my fingers. My fingers go behind. Right? My fingers go behind. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Very good. 3 threes are? 7, 8, 9. 9. Very good. Sit down. Okay. So did I give the correct answer or not correct answer? I gave the correct answer. If you ask me, how did you get it correct? I have no clue. I just do mechanically. I did it, finish. I did not know how 3 into 3 equals 9. I did not know that. That's simply the learning. I don't know, contemplation is totally missing. Forget about meditation. Contemplation is totally missing. No idea how 3 into 3 equals, just is what is mucking up. It's like that. Okay. What is next? This is the wisdom derived through learning without the contemplation and the meditation. What is next? Wisdom derived through contemplation. Contemplation is where you get the confidence. For example, okay, let's say, how many today if you ask me, do you know how 3 into 3 equals 9? If you ask me, I'll say yes. So how is it? How 3 into 3 equals 3? 3 into 3 is 9. How? I say that if I'm to give apples to 3 apples, 3 apples, 3 apples, how many apples should I take? I should take 9 apples. 3 apples into 3 persons. To 9. This is how 3 into 3 equals 9. Okay, so next is wisdom derived through contemplation. Wisdom derived through contemplation is where you are fully convinced that this is it. Okay, so there was a little boy who was 6 years old, and I gave him some almonds, and he picked one almond and he said that the color of the almond inside is white. And I pretended that I don't know. I said, I don't know, are you sure it's white? He said, yes. And then he broke it and showed this to me. And I said, wow, this is amazing. You do not look at it, you already know this white. How do you know that? Who taught you this? He said, nobody taught me, I know this. Nobody taught me, which means it is my own knowledge. You're getting it? So the first one, wisdom derived through learning, is a borrowed knowledge. It's not your knowledge. Wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through contemplation is your knowledge. It's not a borrowed knowledge anymore. It's your knowledge. But your knowledge can be your knowledge. For example, say, okay, let's quickly do this exercise. Let's quickly do this. How many you know these math problem, solving math problem? Plus and minus with numbers less than 5. How many can do that? Mean you can do that? Math problem, less than, only plus minus, numbers less than, okay, 4. You can do it? Okay, good. How many cannot do that? Okay, we all can do it. Okay, let's do this. Jack, ready? Okay. Okay, you give an answer when only when I ask you for an answer. Till that point, do everything mentally. Ready? 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 minus 1 plus 2. What's the answer? Amazing. Yes. Amazing. Okay, now let's do it again. Okay, Shubham, you lost. Okay, Shubham, separate training. Okay, first time by others. Okay, now let's do it again. Same thing. You tell me the result only when I ask you what's the answer. Till that point, everything do mentally. Ready? Okay. 2 plus 2 plus 3 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3 minus 1 plus 2 plus 3. What's the answer? No. What's the answer? Okay, now tell me. Why you were able to give the correct answer to the first question, why in the second case you cannot give the answer? Huh? In the second case, I said too fast. You're getting it? Which means that your mind can process it. You know how to process information correctly, but what is missing? The speed is missing. You're getting it? So you know how to process the information. You know it. You are very confident. So you have the wisdom drawn through learning part. The speed is missing. So what's the problem if the speed is missing? If you know the concept, is it not sufficient? It's not sufficient. For example, why are we learning this wisdom? Why? To counteract our ignorance, destructive emotions like anger, attachment, and so forth. And how effective is the anger? Which sense? How effective? Slow or fast? Very fast and high quality. Extremely fast, intense, so fast. Like a thunder, so fast. When somebody says, you stupid. No thought process. You say, you stupid. It's so fast. You're getting it? It's so fast. So this is like the thief to be counteracted by the policeman. What is policeman? The wisdom. And the wisdom is so slow. Right? And the thief is so fast. The burglars are so fast. And the slow thief, slow policeman, do you think he can counteract the very fast, effective thief? No. So we have to make the policeman very fast also. Okay, how to make fast? Huh?
Training the mind.
How do you train the mind? By repetition. For example, let's say the music. Playing music. How many play music with hands? Keyboard? 1. Okay. The Usain Bolt. What does he do? Running. Right? So before the Olympic, he must be running every day. Every day. Okay. So the music. Shabdashwar. Okay, with the music. Saying, if you really want to be good at it, how to make it so good. Keep doing, repeat it. Okay, keep repeating it, then it slowly becomes what we call as automatic, very spontaneous and very, there's synchrony there, everything will flow with the constant. So whatever conviction that is gained through the wisdom of contemplation, you repeat it over and over again. That becomes the wisdom drawn through meditation. This is known as the wisdom drawn through meditation, where the wisdom becomes extremely fast and high quality. That can combat with the afflictions which are fast and high quality. So therefore, wisdom is of 3 kinds. Wisdom drawn through learning, wisdom drawn through contemplation, wisdom drawn through meditation. So first learning. So finally, what can really combat our emotions? Is the wisdom drawn through meditation. But to get there, you should have the wisdom drawn through contemplation first, because you need to gain conviction in this. To get the conviction in this, you have to have the wisdom drawn through learning or study before that in order to get information. You're getting it? Okay, this is where the three kinds of wisdom are very important. Chelsea, you have something to say?
I'm wondering for the wisdom derived through reflection, how to concentrate? Is it just reviewing your notes, or is there a specific method of how to concentrate?
Okay, how do we engage in the practice of the wisdom of the contemplation? How do we do that? This is a good question. So one thing would be the topics. Topics, some can be very easy topics, some can be very complicated topics. Easy topics, you read it, you will know. You will know, that's okay. But the topics are complicated, like emptiness concepts. These are not something you read and you understand. It requires, say, somebody who is actually teaching you. And then it requires you to have a group discussion. Just keep interacting, so that way your intelligence is constantly activated, and then gradually your experience will go deeper, deeper, deeper. For those who are doing Narada Master's course, NMC 1, I did mention this to you earlier, that some of them who said that the same topics which I studied like 4 years ago, it did not make any sense to me. I was just flowing through this, and later after 4 years, now it makes sense. It's because of the constant studies. What is happening is that your mind is being activated, becoming more and more agile to understand the deeper concepts. So you have to constantly study the deeper concepts. You have to study more, and if possible, with your friends, like-minded people. Say if possible, I would say that to go for some systematic studies. That would be very helpful. Okay, one time in a Buddhist center, I asked a question in the middle of the teaching. I asked a question, and there were a few of them who were into Dharma for the last 20 years. And one gentleman raised his hand and gave an answer, and the answer was a little draggery. It's not so smooth and very convincing. And then there was one girl at the back, raised her hand, and gave the extremely good answer. And I was quite impressed. Okay, this girl must be into Dharma for many years, because this gentleman, I knew that he was in Dharma for the last 20 years. And this girl must be, if not more, maybe naturally intelligent, plus they say Dharma for long. And later, during the break time, she came, and she said that I asked how long you have been in Dharma, and she said just last 3 months. And I was impressed. And she said that she was doing the Narada Master's course. The benefit is that it's not that the Tibetan House course is something very special. No, it's that it's very systematically taught. Whereas this gentleman who studied the Dharma is very ad hoc, not systematic. It's just like you say, okay, a teacher is coming 2-day teaching, a teacher is coming 3-day teaching, a teacher is coming 1-day teaching, just like this. So therefore, no systematic. And later, this same man was driving me from the teaching hall to the guest house. So on the way, I asked him, "Do you see a difference between the answer that you gave and this girl gave?" He said, "Yes." And what's the difference? He said that the answer that this girl gave is very clear and succinct. And I told him that you are intelligent, I know, but do you see the reason why her answer is better than yours? And then he admitted, because that she is doing very systematic studies. So that's the difference. Okay, good. We stop here. Okay, let us do the first intention prayer, page 52. Page 52. I dedicate the marriage gathered towards realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. When all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect way in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast space that have amassed From working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the sheep-beating Buddha for all those whose minds wisdom eyes planted ignorance. Deyato Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvatyata. Okay, at 6 o'clock we have the class Narendra Master's course. And those from NMC 2, of course, this is your space, and for others also, if you're interested, join us. Even though you may not be in the course, it's fun just to see what that is like. You want to see? Come, join. It's up to you. Okay, now group discussion.
Yeah.
Yes.